In this video, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about Ohms and its companion, Watts Law. Now, a lot of times in the industry, people think that Ohm's Law and Watts Law is a theoretical value only, and that it has no practical use in the industry. I'm going to show you at least one example of how we can use Ohm's and Watts Law to assist us in the work we do in the field. Here we have a base pan heater that came out of a condensing unit. We don't know any of the specifications about it, but we need to replace it. Or we need to put in a replacement unit that has the same strip heater built into it. So how do we diagnose what type of strip heater this is? As long as it's not shorted and it has some sort of measurable resistance, we can use Ohms and Watts Law to tell us everything about the strip heater. So the first thing we're going to do is measure the resistance. With any mini split or VRF product, you're going to want to have a meter that has micro test leads so you can get to these small little connections. So here we're going to measure the resistance of the heater. And you can see we're reading about 352 ohms on average. Now let's go ahead and look at the race board here and see how this Ohms and Watts Law will work to our advantage. To utilize Ohms and Watts Law, it's best to start by drawing two different pie charts. This pie chart here is for ohms, and it has 3 values in it. What we do with this chart is if we need to find an unknown value, we simply cover it, and we will see a formula to discover the other values. For example, if I wanted to know E, which stands for electromagnetic force or the voltage, I would simply take the amperage times the resistance, and that would give me the voltage. If I wanted to know the amperage, I would cover that, and I would simply take the voltage divided by the resistance, and that would give me the amperage. Now, in Watts Law, we do the same thing, but we're replacing the E for voltage, the I for amperage, and the R for ohms, or resistance, with a P for power, or watts, an I for intensity, or amperage, and an E for electromagnetic force, or voltage. So what do we know about the strip heater? We know at least 2 values. We know that the ohms was 352 ohms of resistance. We know that the E, the electromagnetic force or voltage, is 230 because that's what the unit's rated for. So, to find out the I, we simply divide the voltage by the resistance, which ends up giving us 0.65 amps. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the Watts Law formula. Now, let's calculate the wattage of this strip heater. And you can see here again with Watts Law, there's the power, the amps, and the volts. We're looking for the power in watts, and we know the amperage, and we know the voltage. So let's go ahead and calculate that. We take the 0.65, and we times it by the 230. And when we do that, we end up with 149.5 watts of energy. So we're saying that that base pan heater was 149.5 watts. Well, let's find out if our formula worked. If we take that base pan heater that we talked about in the beginning of the video, and we take a look at the tag, you can see right here when we zoom in that the tag says it's rated for 230 volts of power, and by the way, the wattage is 150 watts of power. This is just a real-world example, a practical example of how we can use Ohms and Watts Law in our daily lives. Thank you.
For service manuals and other documentation, please visit our website at samsunghvac.com or use our Samsung HVAC mobile app to download any technical documentation. Thank you.